The Julie Gooden. It's a pleasure to have you, and I'm really excited to kind of introduce you to all the families out there. I mean, you bring a wealth of experience and knowledge to the table. Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I've been in education for almost 30 years. I've done everything from elementary school teacher to elementary school counselor. I have been lead counselor at a high school. Right now, I am the college and career counselor. I have been for 6 years at Hayes High School in Buda, Texas. Um, College and career has kind of become my passion, especially since I have three boys that I have raised through college, or at least up to college. My youngest one is still there. So it's very important to me to help kiddos figure out what to do with that next step after high school. I want them to be productive and self-sufficient, and I want to be, that's what we start with when I meet with kids.
And you're going on the big 3-0,
Mhm.
30 years of
Mhm.
experience in
It went
this.
fast.
That's crazy. That's a lot. I mean,
I
so
know.
when you think about it, you've probably seen it all. I mean,
Hmm.
colleges from coast to coast, working with folks that have learning differences, working with folks that are hitting home runs on testing, and I mean, just all kind of crazy stuff. Tell me, when you're working with somebody, let's say that you've got someone that really doesn't know what they want to go into, like what they want to study. How do
Hmm.
you assist them with that? What's your starting point?
Well, the first thing I do is I try to put them at ease and talk to them and get to know them a little bit. I have a example of a young man earlier this year. We were immediately talking to kids about doing their college applications, and he was like, "But I want to do this." And so it just happened at the time it was truck driving. So we talked about that for a few minutes, but it's putting them at ease and getting them to understand that whatever it is you want to do, I can help you do that. So um, I pick their brain a little bit. And then one thing I like to do is I can find common ground. Somebody comes to me and tells me they want to apply to Rice or they want to go to medical school. I'm pretty quick to say, my son did that. Would you like to talk to him? Or here's the experience we had. This is how we did it. That helps a lot. I like to put them at ease. And then we dive into the college searches and the career searches and the inventories. They may have some through their school. We have some that we use with them, but try to help them along the way with that.
How does your training impact that? I mean, as a licensed counselor, I mean, you have specialized training in administering some of these diagnostics, right?
Mhm.
That's been quite beneficial. How does that training work exactly?
I think the extra, I mean, the extra piece of being a counselor is that we have a lot of mental health training, and the mental health training goes along with so when you're talking about their future, you're not just talking dollars and cents in black and white. You're talking the whole person. What's going to make you happy? What are you capable of? It gives them more of a whole person view of how to be an adult and
Yeah,
how are they going to be happy being an adult. We kind of have this ability to see the kid as a whole person rather than just, you want to go to this college, here's the steps.
hmm,
So we're able to look at them more individually and more holistic, and observe the anxiety or the that sort of thing and try to help them relax and meet them at their where they are.
great. And all right, essays. I mean, it doesn't whether you are excited about applying to college, maybe you're freaking out a little bit. Those essays tend to be what everybody kind of gets nervous about.
Mhm.
There's a lot of writing in this process between the main
Mhm.
essay, the activity list, short answer questions. Then you have the expanded resume if you're applying to UT. Tell me a little bit about your approach to the essays. I mean, how is it that you can really keep folks feeling motivated, inspired? I mean, what is your strategy with the essays? I guess is the way of asking it.
Well, my first strategy is to offer opportunities for them to get help with it. They need to sit down and listen. What does a college rep want? I brought in college reps to talk about it. This is the kind of things we want. I want them to understand this is not like essays you've been writing in English class. This is about you. And it goes back to getting to know them, putting them at ease, and helping them kind of. What I find is kids don't want to brag about themselves, or they think, I don't have anything to talk about. There's nothing going on. So sometimes you have to just sit and chat with them until they start talking about that stuff. And then you point it out to them and go, oh, right there, you know what? You can use that. And then you take that information, the direction they want to go. And they do. They need to go to the labs, the essay labs. Here at the high school, we do workshops, and you need to go and you need to learn how to make it creative, how to make it stand out, how to be that essay that when they're looking at everybody's application within 7 to 10 minutes, they go, "Ooh, this one grabs my attention." How do you do that? So that's how I approach it.
I'm going to ask you a question and I'm just curious. I don't even know if you know how many, but if you had to just give a total, about how many main essays do you think that you've read in your,
Oh,
I know, exactly. Let's just hear a number. How many of these things have you reviewed before?
well, just in the last 6 years here, with an average class size for a seniors is between 400 and 500. I would say I read 50 to 100 a year.
Wow.
So yeah, I've
That's
seen a lot
intense.
of
You've seen a
them.
lot.
I've seen good ones. I've seen bad ones. I've seen some that are so inspiring that I want to use them to show other kids. I see some that I'm like, let's go back to the drawing board. Or
Yeah.
I've seen some where I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Let's go see if we can figure this out.
It's good to have somebody from outside the family too reviewing
Hmm.
this because you want to make sure that your message is getting picked up from an admissions officer who's never met you before. Now,
Absolutely.
now let's think about this for a second. Almost everyone we work with have got the two big state flagships on the map,
Mhm.
UT or A&M, oftentimes both. If you could, what are some key distinctions about these universities? I mean, for example, we know, I mean, rolling admissions, A&M has that. They monitor
Mhm.
demonstrating interest. UT, there's some distinctions about UT. I mean, if you're meeting with your scholars, how do you how do you differentiate the application process between these two schools?
Well, first off, while they're both competitive and they're both really good schools with really good reputations, UT is quite a bit more competitive. It's quite a bit harder to get into, and you really need to drill down to what major or what program are you hoping to get into when you're talking about UT, because the statistics get harder with the more competitive majors. For example, you want to go into liberal arts and study economics, that's the easiest school to get into. Liberal arts education, and I think it's natural sciences minus the computer science. You want to go into engineering, computer science, business, those are at the other end. So you have to meet standards that are beyond the basic standards for UT. So they need to understand that. And they need to understand that even if they're automatic admission or assured admission, they're going to get individually reviewed, and everything that they turn in is going to be looked at, and it needs to be brilliant all the way across the board. A&M has a little bit more of a familial vibe to it. They like all schools love their tradition, but A&M is really steeped in it.
Whole nother
So
level, yeah.
a whole
Aggies
nother
love
level.
Aggies.
You either love it or you're like, oh my, what is this? But so they're interested in knowing that you really want to be an Aggie and why. So they're going to ask you, have you been participating in our activities? Have you come to visit the engineering department? Have you come to Aggieland Days? Um, they're more they do have some majors that are more competitive, probably not as competitive as UT's, but you're in the same boat as far as you better know what they want, and you want to shoot for those earlier deadlines. And other than that, you've got the A&M has a special report to self-report your transcript, where UT's got that expanded resume that they like. So there's differences in similarities.
None of them really are considered. I mean, they used to, I mean, a lot of folks would consider or used, I always hear oftentimes, oh, UT is my backup college. I mean, I don't
Right.
know any, it's not a backup college or a safety school for anybody these days. And even
I
A&M,
don't think so
yeah, it's quite
at
tough,
all.
you know.
So
Um,
yeah, that assured admission thing is it's misleading.
it is misleading.
It's very misleading. And a lot of kids just assume I'm top with UT right now is top 6%. That that's what I'm going to do. But there's no consideration. What do you want to study? And what do and could you have studied that over there, somewhere else? Or did you want to do something more competitive? You could have done it at another school. But no, I don't think anybody that's a safety for anybody.
Let's talk just briefly about activities and then we'll wrap it up. But a lot of folks are coming to us and we have a STEM specialty about our group. And let's say, that computer science. I mean, we work mostly with folks that want to go into computer science, business, engineering, pre-med, all areas, but these tend to be our area of focus. How would you advise? How do you assist folks that, for example, are needing guidance in computer science? I mean, what would be some things that you might be able to recommend?
Well, first off, if they're going for computer science, I would hope that they have taken some computer science or at least similar classes, or even if they couldn't fit it into their schedule at high school, they've they've done some online training, because going into computer science cold in college is it can be a death sentence, because it's a lot harder than a lot of people think. But my most successful kiddos that have gone to college to be in computer science have shown that they can create things on their own. I encourage them to, they're always looking for leaders. They want to see that you've been involved in activities that are related to your major, UT especially. They want to see, have you been doing computer science things to show that you're working on this as a career? They want to see that, but they also want to see that you've risen to the leadership point. Are you creating something within that group? I always refer back to one of my favorites is when kiddos are interested in health science and they're in the HOSA. HOSA is a very common group here on or most high school campuses. It's the Health Science Club. And I'm like, but what did you do in HOSA? I wasn't just a member. I organized the blood drive. I was key on our UIL team and, that sort of thing. So that you need to go that step further. One of my students that went to computer science at A&M, he had his own business, online business, is a web business, and he did his own website business on the side. And he had some customers. He had some local customers. There was like a gardening guy that had him doing his website, and he tutored at a coding place. The
Oh,
admissions officers and his scholarship interview people, he got enough money to cover A&M and grad school, but they loved it. They loved every minute
oh,
of
that's awesome. That's
it. Mm-hmm.
incredible. And you're quite involved in, the community. I mean, you're a member of the American School Counselor Association, the
Mm-hmm.
Texas Association for College Admissions Counseling, the National Center for Women in Information Technology. What is that, by the way?
That's an organization that's focus is to get more females and women at the table at Google and at the planning table at Apple. When right now our future is technology and creating things, and when you go into the planning team, they have discovered collaboration is so important. But when it's only white males sitting at the table for the collaboration, you don't get all the views and you don't cover everything that might possibly happen. And they need female voices. They need underrepresented cultures and races at the table. And so what NC WIT is focused on is getting more women access and well and interest in computer science because it's not traditionally something girls like to do. So we research. Well, they created a group called Counselors for Computing because companies like Merck and Coca-Cola, Google is I keep going back to Google, but they've funded us quite a bit. They send us out and train us so that we can train school counselors to encourage girls and other kiddos that are not normally would not normally think about computer science to try it. And that way, their whole goal is that over the course of 5-10 years, that collaborative group sitting at that table at Coca-Cola or Merck is diverse.
Wow.
And they've done studies that prove that diversity improves the bottom line.
Great.
They make more money.
What is your favorite part about advising, high school teenagers going to college? Because it can be a challenge. I mean, you get folks that don't know what they want to do. You get folks that do know what they want to do, but they're very narrow in focus in terms of their college list, that you're not picking a balanced list. Oftentimes it's reaches. I mean, so
Right.
it's not a very easy field to go into. So what is it that you really get out of this? What is it that you enjoy?
I think one of my favorite things is when they come in and you're right, whether they know what they want to do or not, they're disorganized and it's just kind of they just kind of dump it. Like, I want to do this. And I like to help them organize it and put it in, group, okay, well, let's talk about this. Okay, well, what are your scores? What are this? If the student comes in and thinks sometimes you get them, I can't go to college. What could I possibly do? By the end of that conversation, we're applying to a college and we're looking at, possible majors. I like to see that light bulb come on. And my favorite thing is when they're done, I'll say, okay, did this help? And oh, this was amazing. Or I know so much more now than I did before. Or, okay, yeah, I'm still a little confused on this, but I like to help them break it down, organize it, and make it tangible so that it's
Um,
actually, attainable.
and feeling challenged too. You're leaving them
Yes.
a much better person. That's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
It's helping them to evolve over time
Absolutely.
and be
Absolutely.
somebody that maybe you never thought that you could be. I like what you said, that consider colleges or majors that maybe they didn't think that they could
Mm-hmm.
even consider. Last question. Tell me your superhero power. All right. If you had to list something that was like your superhero power, what would it be for you?
The funny thing is, counselors, we as a collective believe we're superheroes anyway. And you'll look around and see us wearing capes one day and, superhero counselors. I think my superpower is that um, recognizing when a student, I keep calling them kids, bless their hearts, when a student is anxious, overwhelmed, and just not sure what direction is up, where to start. And putting them at ease and making them know that it's okay. I'm not here to judge, I'm here to guide. And
Definitely.
the more you tell me, the better job I can do guiding you. And don't not tell me something because you're afraid I'm going to judge you on it, because I would never do that. And I think
Uh,
that's my superpower.
That's awesome. Well, Julie, thanks so much for speaking with me this afternoon. A little bit about your profession and your career and all of that. This has been such a pleasure. Thank you so much, and
Thank you.
we'll talk to you later. Bye bye.
Bye.